Hello everyone, it is Zain here from Zains007Fancast. Today I'm going to read an original short story by Wilshi in his latest mission, Our Favorite Spy, James Bond, is sent to Southport. Will our hero be able to save the day?
In the sands he's waiting. Through the mist the gear is reaching like a dagger to the sea. Shadows stir where gulls are screeching, every wave a mystery. Underneath the light still blinking, ghosts of laughter haunt the air. And a man keeps slowly walking to the danger waiting there. Every step's a wager, every glance could kill. In a town that hides its secrets, he's the only one who will. The sands of Southport, they'll swallow you whole, drag you under, body and soul, where the carousel turns and the night still burns. One man walks through the storm, and the sands of Southport keep him warm. Candy, rock, and poisoned whispers, every kiss a loaded game. In the hall of mirror shivers, not a soul will speak your name. Steel and rust scream in the shadows, coasters groan in winds that bite. Every sound a coded warning, every move could end tonight. In the glare of the midway, he can see the snare. Every mask a smiling traitor, every prize a cold affair. The sands of Southport, they'll swallow you whole, drag you under, body and soul, where the carousel turns and the night still burns. One man walks through the storm, and the sands of Southport keep him warm. In the funhouse the laughter's gone, but the game plays on and on. Through the smoke and the flame, they still whisper his name, Bond, James Bond. On the pier the tide is turning, shadows stretch across the day, but the fire still keeps burning till the tide can wash it away. One more dance, one more danger, one more secret left untold. In the cold arms of a stranger lies a heart of steel and gold. The sands of Southport, they'll never let go. They'll pull you down when no one will know, where the pier runs long and the night song strong. He'll be there facing the storm, and the sands of Southport, the cold sands of Southport, keep him warm. The tide will rise again.
James Bond, The Sands of Southport. Setting: Southport, Merseyside, faded gem of Victorian grandeur where something sinister stirs beneath the pyre. From MI6 files once sealed to the public comes a mission buried beneath the tides of time, a seaside town hiding something far deadlier than cockles and candyfloss. Southport, once a playground for the upper crust, now the setting for James Bond's latest operation. This is the Sands of Southport. Scene 1, Arrival in the Mist. Bond stepped off the train at Southport Station, the late August air thick with sea mist. His Tom Ford suit was slightly too sharp for the Merseyrail platform, but Bond never worried about blending in. Southport? He muttered, not quite the Riviera. But MI6 hadn't sent him here for sunshine. He'd been briefed en route. A tech magnate by the name of Frederick Varnum, a recluse with suspected ties to arms dealers in Central Europe, had set up a tech incubator in a converted funhouse on the edge of the now semi-abandoned Southport's Pleasureland. Reports suggested he'd been testing something that scrambled naval frequencies along the Irish Sea. Disrupt the Navy? M had said, and you don't need guns, you control the channel. Scene 2, Shadows on the Pyre. Bond checked into the Bliss Hotel, the kind of place that tried very hard to forget the 1980s had ever happened. His room overlooked Southport Pyre, the longest in Britain, stretching out like a dagger into the Irish Sea. Night fell. Bond walked the promenade. He passed slot machines still blinking, a few teenagers vaping in hoodies, and a busker playing a sad version of Live and Let Die on a battered accordion. Suddenly a woman approached. She wore a red raincoat, heels too sharp for the paving stones, and eyes that suggested both danger and regret. "You're late," she said. "I didn't realize I was expected." Bond replied, "MI6 always is." She handed him a small USB drive. "You've got one shot. Pleasureland midnight. The fan house isn't for kids anymore." She turned, heels clicking on the wooden pyre, and vanished into the mist. Scene 3, into the funhouse. The gates to Southport Pleasureland creaked as Bond slipped through the side entrance. The place was eerie at night. Echoes of old laughter hung in the air, the skeletons of defunct rides looming in the dark, the cyclone, the ghost train, the derelict dodgems. Inside the funhouse, now converted into Varnum's lab, Bond found state-of-the-art tech. Servers blinked beneath candy-stripped walls. He inserted the USB. A screen flickered to life. "Project Never Sleep," it read. It was a cyber weapon, once capable of knocking out all the naval navigation systems within a 100-mile radius, the Irish Sea, the slide shipyards, even Liverpool's port, blind and deaf, and it was going live at dawn. Behind him, a slow clap. "James Bond," said Frederick Varnum, descending a spiral slide repursed as a private entrance. "You've ruined my surprise." He wore a white jumpsuit, too clean for someone who built weapons. His eyes glittered with fanaticism. "You know," Bond said, turning, "this really isn't cricket." "No," Varnum smiled. "This is war." Scene 4, Coasters and Carnage. Gunfire erupted. Bond rolled behind a giant fiberglass clown's head, returning fire with his Walther PPK. Varnum's guards, clad in old Pleasureland uniforms, swarmed in. Bond ducked through the hall of mirrors for a moment. He saw 30 reflections of himself, all calm and armed. "Let's play then." Using the mirrors, Bond picked them off one by one. He emerged onto the defunct Wildcat coaster, now turned into a weapon testing rig. There, strapped beneath the coaster's tracks, was a drone, a platform armed with frequency jammers. "You're too late, Mr. Bond," Varnum shouted over the wind. "The skies are already waking up. Then let's give them a wake-up call." Bond sprinted up the tracks, dodging bullets and rusted bolts. He ripped the remote pack from the drone and smashed it with a fire extinguisher pulled from an alt-right operator's booth. An explosion rocked the park. Flames lit up the night sky above Southport. Varnum's empire and Project Never Sleep collapsed into smoke and screams. Scene 5. Farewell by the sea. The wind of the Irish Sea carried with it a low moan, like an old fairground organ left to rot. Bond stood alone at the end of the Southport pier, Britain's longest, the wooden planks beneath his polished shoes groaning with each shift of the tide. His suit jacket was slung over one shoulder, collar loose, shirt stained with ash and sweet seawater. The scent of burning circuit still clung faintly to his skin, mingling with the salty air. Behind him, the shot skeleton of Pleasureland was barely visible through the lingering mist, smoke curling above broken coasters, melted candy stalls, and the fun house whose laughter would never return. "You don't look like someone who just saved the coastline," came a voice. Bond didn't turn around. He'd already sensed her approach, the faint scent of sandalwood, the click of sharp heels muted by the wooden planks. She stepped beside him, the woman in red. MI6 had given him the code name Red Wing, but Bond suspected she'd never needed saving, not even from himself. "Mission reports already written," she said. "MI6 wants you debriefed in London tonight. By tonight. Tell them I'm on holiday," Bond murmured. "This doesn't look like holiday weather." "Depends on your definition of fun," he said, glancing at her sideways. "I find a bit of industrial sabotage oddly relaxing." She smiled, then produced a long stick of pink Southport rock from her coat pocket. "Thought you might want a keepsake." Bond took it, returned it in his hand. "Bond, James Bond," he read aloud. "All the way though. Even the sugar can't hide that." "So what now?" she asked, watching the gull spiral above the wave. Bond looked out to sea. Far on the horizon, cargo ships sat still, their signals once scrambled by Varnum device, now humming back to life. A Royal Navy cutter sliced slowly through the water, glinting in the sun. Now Bond said the word forgets. "Now," Bond said, "the world forgets. The news will say it was a power surge, maybe a chemical fire in a disused warehouse. And you?" "I'll let Southport keep its secrets. We all have them." There was a long pause, only the wave filled in. "You ever think about walking away?" she asked. Bond laughed softly, a cold edge to it. "Only when I'm nowhere near a cliff." She handed him a sealed envelope, no label, no stamp. "From M. It's about your next assignment." Bond didn't open it. "Let me guess, something exotic. Monaco, Cairo, somewhere with fewer haunted piers. Maybe, or maybe it's another seaside town with ghosts under the sand." He looked down at the letter, then folded it into his jack pocket. "I think I'll stay a while. Maybe win a plush beer on Lord Street. Or take in the model railway." She raised an eyebrow. "You sentimental?" "Only when I've just blown up a lunatic's drone army from a roller coaster." They stood there for a moment longer, two shadows against the rising sun. Then Bond turned, walking back down the pier. Slowly, deliberately, the tide pulled away beneath him, retreating from the town as if relieved to leave it behind. Behind him the gulls scattered. A police siren wailed in the distance, and the town of Southport, battered but intact, exhaled. Somewhere far off, the Bond theme played slow, as if even the orchestra needed a rest. And so the pyre stands quiet again, but beneath its wooden planks and faded arcades, memoirs of fire, betrayal, and espionage linger like footprints in the sand. James Bond will return, but for now, Southport sleeps. We hope you enjoyed our little story. Please give us a like, a comment to let us know what you thought. James Bond will return very soon with another tale of mystery and action. Don't forget to subscribe and be the first to know when we post. I'm Zain, and remember, here at Zains007Fancast we do it better.